students, and welcome back to the 2020-2021 school year. No one ever thought we'd start a school year this way, but I'm excited that we are still going to make sure that all of our students are college, career, and life ready, regardless of the current circumstances. So this video is just going to give you a few updates. Many questions have come in, and we're going to take an opportunity to try and answer all of your questions. I will tell you up front that there will be some answers that I don't have for you just yet. This will be the first of many virtual sessions. So first, let me start by saying that Guilford County Schools Board of Education made a decision to have remote learning for the first 9 weeks of school. Being an early or middle college student means that you come back a little bit before the traditional schools. So actually our remote learning will be about 10 and a half, 11 weeks. October 16th, we will know whether or not we will continue with remote learning or if we will have face-to-face instruction. As bad as I want you here with us here at the Middle College at Uncg, I want you alive and well. So we will follow the directives of the Guilford County Schools Board of Education. The decisions are not made by Ms. Brown at this point. So we will follow all procedures and protocols voted on by the Guilford County Schools Board of Education in conjunction with Uncg and their rules and procedures. So many of you have probably heard about Guilford County Schools e-learning opportunities. So let me tell you the difference between remaining with us and being a part of the GCS e-learning opportunity. The only difference is that you would have teachers who were not assigned to the Middle College at Uncg. So if you opt to go into the GCS e-learning online, you would have teachers from other schools, other North Carolina teachers teaching you instead of our Middle College at Uncg teachers teaching you. That's really the only difference. So from a parent's perspective, and as you're talking as a family, I would have the conversation about what is the risk of me not enrolling in e-learning. The deadline has been extended to September 15th, so you have a conversation with your family to decide if the Guilford County Schools Board of Education decides that they would like to, in some form or fashion, come back to school mid-October face-to-face, then the risk lies really in second quarter. Every student in first quarter is going to be remote learning. But what we don't know is what's going to happen second quarter. So if the Board of Education decides that we will return face-to-face and you have not enrolled in GCS e-learning, then you would be required to do whatever it is that the Board of Education decides on. So if they say face-to-face, then we would have a plan and roll out a plan for face-to-face instruction here at the Middle College at Uncg. And if you're in GCS e-learning, however, you would remain in remote learning. The only difference again is that you will not have the Middle College at Uncg teachers. That decision again needs to be made by September 15th because there are only a few opportunities for you to enroll and withdraw. So enrollment by September 15th if you decide to do the e-learning. And then at the semester break is when you can re-enroll or withdraw from that opportunity. There is not week by week scenarios for GCS e-learning versus you not being a student here at the Middle College at Uncg. So what happens to my spot if I enroll in GCS e-learning? Many of you want to know, will I still be a student at the Middle College at Uncg? Technically, yes, and your spot will not go away. So we will hold your spot for the remainder of this school year. I know I'm pretty selfish in saying this, but I would love to keep you as a Middle College at Uncg students with our teachers. We love you, we build these relationships with you, but again, that is a decision that your family has to make. While everyone will be remote learning first quarter, second quarter is where the risk kind of comes in because we don't know what the decision will be from the Board of Education. So I hope that clarifies the difference between GCS e-learning and being remote for us here at the Middle College at Uncg. So, regardless of the decision that your family decides to make, whether you are GCS e-learning or remote learning with us at the Middle College at Uncg, I want you to be aware that attendance and grades will probably look a little different than it did in the spring. In the spring, it was a quick shift, a quick pivot for us, and so this semester, we are looking to make sure that attendance and grades look a little bit different. The accountability is going to be a little more than it was in the spring. So whichever route you decide to take, I want you to be very conscious of making sure that you are logging in and attending classes and putting your best foot forward so that your grades will remain above par. Now I would like to talk a little bit about GCS transportation. Some of you have indicated that you would still need transportation for college courses, and you'll hear a little bit more from Ms. Manuel and Ms. Johnson in regards to college courses. But should you have a face-to-face college course here on the campus of Uncg, I wanted to assure you that GCS is providing transportation. It was very important for you to submit that information in the link that we provided in the Remind app. If you haven't done that already, please do so now this evening so that we can have that information documented. We would like to make sure that you are on the GCS transportation route as soon as possible. Again, GCS transportation is available for early and middle college students, but we need to know in advance. So if you decide that you are going to remain with remote learning with us and wait for the Board of Education to decide what second quarter will look like, I just wanted to give you a brief synopsis of what's going on for the first couple of weeks of school. So this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is student laptop pickup. We do encourage you, we have plenty of laptops, we encourage you to come in between 9 and 11 and 1 and 3 to pick up a GCS laptop. And the reason we encourage that is because sometimes on other laptops, the access to different sites and different platforms could vary. However, if you had success in the spring with your device at home, that's good to go. We just want you to know that our laptops are available for checkout should you need one. Again, that is between 9 and 11, August 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 1 and 3, August 5th, 6th, and 7th. So please come to the school, make sure that you are social distancing and wearing a mask. You must wear a mask in order to enter the building. Also during that time, we will have some information for you to do before the actual classes start. So that's August 5th through 7th. Next week, August 10th through 14th, will be kind of getting to know your teachers, some orientation activities throughout the week. Some of your teachers will begin some content delivery, but I want you to also be aware that August 17th is when live instruction begins, and we will produce a schedule so that you know when to be in class beginning August 17th. So between August 5th and August 14th, there will be a list of things that you need to handle, kind of like some housekeeping items between August 5th and August 14th. So if you do not come to the campus to receive a laptop, we will also send to you all of the do nows that you have to get done before live instruction begins. We want to stay connected with you. Make sure that you have joined all of our social media sites. Make sure you have subscribed to YouTube. Make sure that you are checking your any Remind messages, your Connect Ed messages. Parents, please help us in making sure that the correct numbers are with Ms. Baker so that you are receiving any messages that I send out. Very important information is being sent via Connect Ed, through Remind. Make sure your child has the Remind app and the code for their class, and just make sure that you're staying connected with us so that, because information is very fluid, it's coming very fast, and we want to make sure that you have the most recent and current information as much as possible. We want our students to stay connected and have fun, even though we are not really together. We want to stay connected, and many of the students gave us feedback about spirit weeks and fun things that we did in the spring once we had to leave. And so we will continue to brainstorm ways to stay connected and provide the social and emotional support for our students and our families. If there's anything that you need, please feel free to reach out to the school. Our staff is ready and want to make sure that this is a great experience for our students in spite of this global pandemic. Again, please reach out for anything that you may need. We're going to try and be as flexible as possible. We've never had school or started school during a pandemic. And so we ask that you give us grace, we'll give you grace. We're going to work together and make this an awesome school year. Thank you.
Hi, this is Miss Manuel, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about scheduling for this year. You know, I'm the counselor at the middle college at Uncg, and I try really hard to make sure that you have all the courses and things that you need to get started, because that's what we're all focused on right now, given the time of year. We're getting ready to start school, so I think you've gotten the calendar from Miss Brown, and you know the dates for which actual class instruction will start. Uncg classes will begin on August the 17th. I've been working on your schedules diligently and trying really hard to stay in touch with you. Two things I want to remind you of. One is Remind. If you have not joined Remind, please make sure you join Remind, because that is the easiest way for me to send you a quick message, even if it's to let you know that I've emailed you, and also for you to message me. The other thing is that to make sure you have my correct email address. It's Manuel, Manuele, at gcsnc.com. So I wanted to make sure you had that correct. I am working from home a good bit, and so sometimes I'm not available by telephone, but I am available by email and by Remind messages most of the time. If I don't respond right away, it's because I'm either working on something, I need to look up something for you, but I will respond. I'll try to let you know that I have gotten your message. In terms of scheduling, you'll have at least 4 classes. Every student, every 10th, 11th, and 12th grade student should have at least 4 classes. Hopefully over the course of the year, we anticipate that you will have a math, a science, an English, and a social studies class at a minimum. And then of course we go into the electives, the foreign languages, our extra science classes, our physical fitness classes, our health science classes. And so those are the ways that we fill in the 8 classes for you that you normally would take in a year. The maximum number of classes that you will be enrolled in each semester is 5. We found that some students don't do very well in all of their classes that they have more than 5. So unless there's a very special circumstance, you'll be enrolled in a maximum of 5 classes per semester. And we really encourage you to monitor that so that you don't overwhelm yourself or get very frustrated. The other thing to let you know about is that Uncg has various scheduling options now. Because of the coronavirus and because of us working remotely, going to school remotely. So what I've tried to do is to let you know, or will be letting you know, what time of day your class is meeting. Many of them are meeting remotely. Some of them require you to come to campus for 1 day a week. Some of them are completely online, and a few are face-to-face. So we need to make sure that you're aware of what exactly your schedule is so that you can make sure that you're prepared to do that. The other thing is that our classes will begin for the next 9 weeks. Once we start active instruction, they will begin for the next 9 weeks and will be online with your middle college teachers. So all of those classes will be online, and you'll be expected to log in daily to be able to access that work, contact your teacher, and to get any questions or anything answered. There will also be more information about that forthcoming, I'm sure, from Ms. Brown and from your teachers. The one thing that we want to make sure that you remember is that it's important for you to stay in contact not only with your high school teachers, but with your college teachers as well. Whenever you stop logging in, when you don't access your course, someone is probably going to reach out to you to find out how you're doing, what's going on, if you have any technical difficulties, if you're having other issues, so that we can help you. Don't wait to reach out to someone if you're having some difficulty, so that we can help you as soon as possible. So that's it as far as schedules go. Most of the schedules will be available for pickup beginning on Wednesday of this week. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday during the pickup times for other items that Ms. Brown has put on the calendars, as well as giving you that information previously in a Connect, Add, and on Remind messages. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday that you can pick up your schedule. If you have any schedule changes, there will be schedule changes will occur between Wednesday of this week and Friday of next week. We want to make sure that when we start on August the 17th, that you have all of the things that you need and we've gotten your schedule pretty cleared away. I will find out, but I'm fairly certain that I'll have about 5 days once Uncg classes start to drop you or to add you to a class. After that point, it will be too late for me to be able to do that. So we want to get you squared away and that you feel comfortable in those classes as soon as possible. The other thing in terms of schedules is that you are expected to attend class, whether that's virtually or if you've agreed to take a face-to-face class. You're expected to attend class and abide by the university's attendance policies as well as the district's attendance policies in terms of accessing your classes remotely. If you have any more questions about scheduling, please feel free to email me or to send me a remind message. And again, I'm getting quite a few, sometimes back and forth, so it may take me just a little while to get with you. But I promise you, I will get back with you as quickly as I can. The other thing that we had some questions about were about driver's ed. Some students are old enough to start driver's ed, so you would need to go online and look for the North Carolina Driving School, and all the instructions in terms of signing up for driver's ed are on that website, the North Carolina Drivers School. And you'll be able to select our county, Guilford County, and you should see the schedule for classes. If you have completed all of your driver's ed paperwork and your road driving requirements and you are ready to get your permit, then you will need to have an eligibility form that we fill out for you that's good for 30 days from the date that we date that. And you can schedule to do that in the office by calling the school at 336-334-3662 to schedule an appointment so that you can pick that up. It's my understanding that the DMV is still taking people by appointment, so you should have an appointment for that before you come get that paperwork from us, because it may expire by the time your actual appointment is made. So if you're trying to get your permit and you've completed all driver's ed requirements, please call the school at the front office number and you will be able to get that paperwork completed. In terms of textbooks, we are working with the bookstore diligently. Ms. Johnson has been helpful in terms of being in contact with the bookstore. We cannot go to the bookstore like we have previously, of course, because of social distancing and because of the number of students that we have. It will be on a different basis. My understanding is that they're trying really hard to actually be able to pull textbooks for us. That's why it's imperative that our schedules, that your Uncg schedules, be as clear as possible, so that when they're pulling books for us or letting us know what books are available, we will know that you're in the correct classes. So we will give you more information as soon as we have that. We have provided some information to the bookstore already, and they are hopefully working on that solution. We will not go to the bookstore as we have typically gone. Okay. The other thing is in terms of scholarships and college application questions. I'm going to do a separate video, and I will also have a handout for the seniors who start coming on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, that I also will attach to a remind message, as well as I'll be glad to email it to you if you ask, give me your email address. And that will be so that you can have a list of things that you can be working on, provide you with some information regarding the college application process, and let you know what kinds of information that I have gotten so far. Please go ahead and begin. You've already begun researching the schools that you would like to attend. I would go online on their websites, on their admissions pages as soon as possible, so that you can see what up-to-date information they have for your class, which will be entering in the fall of 2021. And the reason why I say that is because, as you may have heard, the UNC schools here in the state of North Carolina, the ones that are a part of the UNC school system, have decided that they will make the SAT and or ACT optional in terms of admissions this year. So if you're applying for admissions for the fall of 2021, that in the UNC system schools is now optional. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take it. It just means that you don't have to take it. And one of the things that we'll talk a little bit more about in a further video, as well as in individual conferences with you and or your families, is that we'll talk more about that process and whether or not you think you should take that SAT or ACT. They have done that because it's been somewhat difficult trying to get the sites available for some of the testing due to some of the restrictions that different states have placed, and the schools wanted to make sure that that was not a barrier for you in terms of getting into college. So it is test optional for the UNC schools that are part of the UNC system. Now, no SAT or ACT is required. You will check if you're applying out of state or to some private colleges. I would encourage you to check because many of them have begun making those decisions as well. And you may find that those schools as well that you're interested in applying to are going to become test optional, which means that they will put more weight on your 3 years of academic study that you have done, your rigorous schedule that you have for this year, on your extracurricular activities, on your student resume, and on volunteerism that you've done, any kind of things that you have done in the community. They will put much more emphasis on that as opposed to the SAT or ACT. So I did want to give you that piece of information, but I will provide further information for you in that handout that I'm going to provide, and I will be doing some regular little mini videos for you with some information. Some of you have already started the college application process, and I'm very proud of you for doing that. Some of you are very interested in the scholarship component, and I will also address that in a future video, as well as on the handout that I provide for you beginning on Wednesday. So thank you so much for all of your time and attention. If there are other questions that you need to have me answer, please feel free to email me at manuel, MANUELE, at gcsnc.com, or please send me a remind message, and you can look for me just by my name. You should be able to find most of you have messaged me before, but just in case you're looking for me for the first time, make sure that you just look for my name and you should be able to send me a message. If you send it fairly late at night or sometimes on the weekend, I don't get those immediately, so it may be the next day or the next couple of days before I respond. If you send me an email, make sure that you let me know if I haven't responded within the 24 to 48 hours. Make sure you let me know that you've sent me something so that I can make sure I get with you. I do get quite a few, and once in a while, maybe I should say more than once in a while, I miss one. So it's not intentional. I want to do everything that I can to help you, and I believe that we're going to have a tremendous 2020-2021 year, one for the history books. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Hi, middle college students. This is Ms. Johnson, your college liaison, and I'm here to welcome you back to the 2020-2021 school year. Despite everything that's going on, I'm looking forward to the year, and I think that it's going to be a great one. First, I want to talk to you about pathways, and then I'm going to go on to talk about Uncg more broadly and what you can expect from both of those this upcoming year. So in terms of pathways, sophomores and seniors will have pathways this fall, and freshmen and juniors will have pathways in the spring. This is a flip-flop of semesters from the way we did it in past years, but this was pre-planned for a variety of reasons and doesn't have anything to do with coronavirus. It does mean that sophomores and seniors, you can expect to have a pathways class this fall. Now, those courses are going to be offered online this year. So regardless of what Guilford County Schools decides to do going forward in October and beyond, we will have these classes online the whole semester. Okay? Now, you'll get a lot more details about those classes when you are actually go in and see the course content, and you'll be able to see that starting on August 18th. Which is the first day of the Uncg semester. So on that day, you'll need to log in, and this goes for everyone in a college class, log into Uncg Canvas, and you'll be able to see all your Uncg classes listed there, and that will include Pathways, okay, which will be called HHS 120 or 140, depending upon your grade level, okay? Now, it's very important that you are able to log into Canvas and get started right away, and that you remember that Uncg Canvas is separate from the high school's Canvas, okay? So sophomores, you should remember going into Uncg's Canvas last fall when you had Pathways and your health class. Both of those used Uncg Canvas. And juniors and seniors, you will remember, of course, using it for past Pathways and other college classes that you've taken. You can access Canvas at canvas.uncg.edu. And I would suggest making sure that you are able to log in right now before the first day of classes, okay? If you have any trouble logging in, and that would be using your Uncg credentials, that username and password, if you have any trouble with that, please contact me and I can help you remotely to get that reset if necessary, or to troubleshoot and figure out how to get you that access. But it is really critically important because you'll be using Canvas extensively for all your Uncg classes, and that includes Pathways, okay? Now, I'm sure many of you are wondering about sites, and unfortunately, it shouldn't be a surprise for you to hear that we won't be able to do sites as we've done them before this semester. Okay, it just isn't feasible or safe for us right now to be visiting healthcare facilities on a regular basis or anything like that. But we will be replacing that with some career-focused content and some professionalism content in Pathways courses that will hopefully give you an opportunity to learn some of the same things that you learned through that site experience, just in a different way, okay? Now, I mentioned before the need for you to let me know if you had any trouble logging on to Canvas, getting access to your Uncg accounts. The best way to do that, especially if you can't access email, would be by using Remind. Now, I know that you're all familiar with Remind because we use it frequently, but I did want to reassure you that if you've had Remind in the past, we have just repopulated new Remind groups with all of you, and so you're still in Remind, just now you're called a junior instead of a sophomore, or whatever the case may be. However, if you didn't have Remind access in the past, or if for some reason you've gotten a new phone and it doesn't seem to have crossed over, then you may need to sign up for Remind again. Now, this is only for folks who haven't been getting our Remind messages regularly throughout the summer or in the past semester. If you do need excuse me, to sign up for Remind again, I'm going to show you the codes right now on the screen. So you may want to grab a pen and paper, or be prepared to pause the video on this screen so that you can see these codes. Be sure to find the right class that you're in and to subscribe to that Remind group in particular. Now, parents are welcome to be in our Remind groups, but the content and the use of Remind is really geared towards students. Some parents find that they get a lot of messages that they're not interested in if they're in that student Remind group. But again, parents are welcome if you are interested. It's mainly student focused. So here are those codes. Okay, great. If that wasn't enough time, you can go back and pause the video and see it that way, okay? Also, just a quick note about spring pathways. We aren't sure yet what that will look like. We're going to wait a little while to make that determination. If possible, we'll make pathways in the spring look a little bit more traditional, but there's a very good chance that we may still be adapting some things to suit our new circumstances, okay? So if you're curious about what pathways will look like in the spring, just stay tuned and we'll get more information to you when we know it, okay? Now, I want to talk a little bit more about UNCG more generally, and I have a list here that I'm referring to, so excuse me if I look over at this. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. The first important note, and you probably will have heard this elsewhere from other folks, but it bears repeating, that you need to reach out to Ms. Manuel about your college classes to confirm with her whether you want to keep that same schedule now that GCS has made its determination, or whether you need to have some schedule changes, okay? If you are still enrolled in face-to-face classes on the UNCG side, it's really important that we know whether you want to stay in those classes and figure out how best we can support you regardless of what decision you're going to make in terms of class changes you may need, okay? So reach out to Ms. Manuel about those. For those of you who are going to continue face-to-face with UNCG classes this semester, just wanted you to know what you can expect when you're in those classes and when you're on campus in general. So first of all, masks are required by the university at virtually all times, except when you are guaranteed to be 6 feet away from other folks, and that would mainly be in an outdoor setting. So anytime you're in a classroom, anytime you're walking through a hallway, cutting through the EUC to get to another building, all of those times you're going to be required to wear a face covering. Now this can be a mask that goes like this and loops over your ears or behind your head. It could also be a neck gaiter, one of those scarf-like things that you pull up, or just a bandana tied around your nose and mouth, but it does have to cover your nose and mouth at all times. Instructors and staff members throughout campus will be abiding by the same kinds of guidelines, okay? So that's very important. Social distancing is also extremely important and will be happening around campus. You'll particularly notice it if you're waiting in line, say for food service, and you're seeing what that is like, but especially you'll notice it in the classroom. You will be seated 6 feet away from any other student, so furniture will be roped off or removed from classrooms to make sure that that happens. And you will almost certainly have an assigned seat in your college class that you have to sit in all the time throughout the semester. This is a change from the way college classes usually operate, but helps to maintain that distancing and help the university with contact tracing if there were a positive case of someone in a class, and we would know exactly who had been seated around them. So it's for everyone's safety that we'll have those seating charts. Another thing that you can expect in classes are cleaning supplies that are available for you to use to clean your area right before you sit down if you choose to. Okay? Obviously, different groups of students use college classes throughout the day. There will be much more extensive cleaning throughout the day than there has been in the past, but we still know that it can be very difficult when classrooms are in use by lots of students to get that really individualized deep cleaning of every area frequently throughout the day. So that's why you have the option to clean your seat before you get started in a college class if you want to. So those supplies will be there. There will also be hopefully some limited quantities of masks in classrooms that could be distributed if you forgot yours, but those will be very limited. So if you happen to arrive on campus or in a class and you have forgotten your face covering, you will be asked to leave and to go get one. There will be places on campus that will provide these to students free of charge, and as soon as I have all of those locations identified, they're still working on those distribution points, I'll let you know, so that if that does happen, you could go to one of those points on campus and get a free mask and then return to class. That's the protocol that's been established, right? Seeing what else I may need to mention. One change to this semester that you may also see regarding online college classes. In the past, online classes have generally been what we call asynchronous, meaning that you can do the work at any time. The instructor isn't expecting you to be on the computer at a set time to do a live class session with them, okay? However, that's going to change somewhat this fall. Some online classes will be run in a manner where you will be expected to log into that class at a set time. So a 10 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Friday class may actually expect you to log into your computer at 10 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. We'll make sure to help you understand your college schedules when you get them, but we are finding that sometimes there's a little confusion about a college schedule that shows a course at a set time, but doesn't show a location and appears to be online. And that's what the deal is with those classes, okay? We are still working on logistics for what you may be able to do during the day if you are on campus for college classes and you have some downtime. We're working out the logistics of hopefully having a place for you in our building where you could come and be safely distanced and continuing to wear your mask and all of those things, but have a place to be in between. So we will provide you more information about that when the time comes. The university has a lot of those common spaces on campus closed down to prevent students from congregating indoors, and they're really encouraging students when they're not in class to try to perhaps be outside, bring a beach towel and put it in a nice shady spot in the grass and that kind of thing. Thankfully, we do have our building available, and we'll try to have some arrangements for you there. So stay tuned for more on that. And finally, about parking on campus, just in case you have any questions about that. The process for obtaining a parking pass at Uncg is the same as it's always been. So if you're going to be driving to campus, you'll want to perhaps get a parking pass. You can visit parking.uncg.edu to obtain information about getting a pass either for the parking deck or for the lot that's across the street from our building. We also know that a lot of students often park at the College Park Baptist Church that is just across Josephine Boyd Street from our building. And if you are interested in parking there, they have a lot of information on their website. So if you just Google College Park Baptist Church Greensboro and look for parking on their website, I found it very easily when I was Googling. Okay. Now, again, if you have questions, you will have an opportunity during this video to submit some of those, and you can also reach out to me via email or via Remind, and I'll do my best to answer those. But the most important things to know are to stay safely distanced, to remember to bring and wear your mask anytime you're on campus, and be prepared for doing that even in classes. And to, on August 18th, to be sure to go into your Canvas classes right away and make sure that you have that access and get started on Pathways, if that applies to you, or all of your other college classes, okay? And if you have any access issues with Uncg accounts, please reach out to me, okay? Looking forward to a great, if strange, fall 2020, and I can't wait to see you all virtually and eventually in person in the coming school year. Bye-bye.